Being. As I was saying, conscious, connected beings. Now it's recorded. Yeah. So as we come together here, our opening into our connection, our conscious experience of our connection is through the shared space that we move into and what we call meditation, but it is the awareness. It's the movement into what already always is, that we have always access to, but now we experience it together. And so as you close your eyes and on a deep inhale, allow the breath to come in and fill you. And on the exhale, that's expanded into the spacious awareness. Again, just inhaling, allowing the breath to come in. And as you relax and exhale, it opens, we are opened into the field of awake awareness. This field is not within this body-mind. This body-mind is within this field, along with everything else that we call creation. As we allow ourselves to relax into this spacious awareness, we know it fundamentally as love. We know it as freedom. We know it as peace. And in this shared time, we remind ourselves that this is always already present, eternally what is true. And I am that. Tat Vam Asi, thou art that. This is true nature. This is what we always are. And then anything that's other than this, we add it on. We usurp consciousness on behalf of whatever. The mind usurps consciousness on behalf of limitation. But in this moment, we relax out of any mind consideration and expand through our breath into the spacious awareness. This is the space always available. And as you come from this space, the way that your world arises and appears to you, knowing yourself as this, there is no distortion field. And so your world arises in harmony and a sense of connection. When it's other than that, notice that you're believing something that's interfering with what's eternally always already true, and that you actually have access to that. It's called the mind. The mind is accustomed to running the show. Through fear and limitation, it's created, again, a distortion field that looks like one problem after another. But as we reclaim our attention from it, as we come home to this awareness, this field of effulgent, awake awareness, present there, alive there, knowing that this is all that is, this is the real. This cannot be threatened. Nothing that is real can be threatened. This is what is real. This awake awareness, this expansive eternality, spaceless, timeless, arising, a mystery to the mind, but a solace to the heart. We know this as ourselves. Again, experiencing our true nature as peace and ease and freedom and connection. And so we share this space. We are one here. This love is the same. This sense of freedom is the same. This peacefulness is the same. But know that all of this is dependent on awareness. All even of what the mind makes up that takes us out of peace and away from our own heart depends on the knowing of that, depends on awareness. But awareness is prior. It is the space in which everything arises. It's fundamental, and it is the one I am. Thou art that. And as we relax into the space together, we'll have a few minutes of experiencing the connection, the love, the freedom that we are already eternally are. And so it is. I've been sharing this funny story lately. Maybe everybody here has heard it. It's about the old man who was going to wake his son up to go to school, and he went down the hall and he banged on the door and he said, Jaime, you got to wake up. It's time to go to school. Jaime says, I don't want to get up, Dad. I don't want to get up. And his father said, you have to get up. What's wrong with you? He says, I don't like school. What else? The kids all tease me. What else? I hate school. I don't want to get up. And the father said, well, I'll give you 3 reasons why you should. The first one is it's your duty. The second one is you're 45 years old. The third one is you're the headmaster. So I was thinking about the stories that we love that bring out the humor, that the humor is a natural part of that spacious awake awareness where it's arising and overflowing. You know, it's not like we have to take anything so seriously. And what happens is that the mind creates the distortion field in which things look serious. And then we think they're problems, and then we believe we have to solve them. But we're the headmaster. Decide. You don't have to create everything as a problem. Seeing through the lens of that distortion field, which will lead you to your earliest conclusion about yourself, that created a separation between you and your projection. Get that? It's a projection. Right? And so what we're doing as we share the space of the awake awareness, we're coming home. And that's the whole idea of what we call waking up. I used to call the work that I do becoming lucid in the dream, because it seemed to me that that was the first step. Because you know what a lucid dream is like, you become aware in the dream that you're dreaming. And so you're in a different relationship to it. So right now, if we become aware that we're dreaming this dream, then we can start to see it for what it is, rather than being a problem or an issue about ourselves, or a condemnation of ourselves, or a judgment of others. We can begin to see it clearly. And in that seeing, we allow everything to take on its own expression. There's a wonderful thing about no resistance. And it is that frequency of allowing everything to be whatever it is without resistance to it. You know, and so I don't know, it seems to me that there's so much talk about waking up these days. There's so many spiritual teachers, and it's a happening in this reality. And I think that this is the time of that occurring through technology and through everybody realizing that you can't get enough of what you don't need. And so the efforting to get one more thing, to have one more experience, to acquire something, whether it's a lover or a bank account or whatever it is, there's not going to be any solution to your loneliness out here. There's not going to be any solution to your lack of self-worth out here, because out here is a projection of that. So we're caught in this kind of house of mirrors. And as we come home to ourselves in that spaciousness that we experience together, when we just through our breath, it's right here, it's right now, it's nowhere to go to. We actually have to come out of the illusion, the projection, and turn back to our own heart. That heart represents not something that's in this body, but that heart is the reality out of which we arise, out of which we express, out of which we connect. If we're not knowing ourselves as that, then everything is an effort. Then we have to figure out means and methods for connection, to be understood, to make sure he gets me, right? Well, you know, it's one of the things I've been saying for a few months now. You first, you get you know who you are, you clear out the projection of not being good enough, and then see how your life shows up. It can be a kind of can be kind of a high bar to realize that this is a projection. But we realize it often for all of us. When that lens falls away, we realize that we're connected. The projection is experienced when we're separate, when we're caught in a belief about ourselves, and that's projected and creates an us and a them and creates separation. But when we come home to ourselves, then it's like when the judgment falls away, the self-judgment falls away, there's nothing between us and all that is. There's nothing between us and an apparent other or a circumstance. And so now we have access. Prior to that, when we think there's something objective happening out here that I need to solve, that it's a problem out here that I need to correct, then we're separate from it and we are efforting. And it's a fear-based effort because it's looking like something that shouldn't be happening. And now I am using the mind caught in fear that projected this to try to solve it. It's a fool's errand. It's never worked. And that is, we've gone through this entire cycle in this collective reality to getting to this place of the realization that it just doesn't work at the level of the problem. You can't solve it there. There's no solution there. It's a projection. How do you solve the problem that you come upon in your nighttime dream? You wake up and sit on the side of the bed and say, whoa, that was a bad dream. Well, it's time to do that in regard to this dream. Yeah, it's time to wake up. It's your duty. You're 45 years old and you're the headmaster. Time to wake up. Yeah. So let's open up the floor for questions or topics that we might want to consider together. What happens in this space is that the response is from the group here on Zoom, here in the room. It's a oneness, a reality of oneness, where the response may be spoken through me, but it's us being here together as the truth of who we are, one. There's no separation. You know, we have the fun of body-mind units and of an apparent 3D reality, but it's all this. It's all love, and it's all peaceful, and it's all easy. Yeah. So let's see what's up that we can take a look at together. And in that seeing it, have it resolve, have it dissipate, have it disappear.
So if you've got a question, go ahead and either write in the chat in line or go ahead and put in the reaction button, put the raise your hand sign, so then I'll know where you are to spotlight you. So if you have a question or if there's something you would like to work on with Polly,
yeah,
a trigger, whatever's here. And that includes the room here as well.
yeah.
I have a quick need that probably I'm wondering if it comes up from anyone else.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, I sure can.
Yes, you can.
I want to get it right. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to waste my time and money or other people's time and money. That really, I can feel the drive of that. Wanting to get it right. And if I don't get it right, but the truth is my higher self really knows there's no getting it wrong. That I don't really believe that I can make a mistake. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna get something better for next time. But I can feel the angst in my chest chakra of the I want to get it right the first time.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, any comments on, and what's the underlying fear,
Right.
which I can't quite get.
What does it feel like?
Failure, just a failure type of energy.
Right.
Investing my life force in believing something might help. And then finding out it didn't and it won't. And then now you gotta keep going at it. And I think I'm running out of fuel.
So, but you still have a belief that you can do something about it, right? You believe that you can do something, there's something that you can get. It's still transactional, yeah. There's something I can get or some way that I can be so that that gets resolved. I don't have the angst. I don't have the fear. But the question that I ask you is, who knows what you're telling me? Let me talk to her, the one that knows what you're telling me about. She's awareness. She's aware of looking like Grace has got angst in her heart chakra. She's got concerns about the future. She's got beliefs about getting it or not getting it. But you're the one that knows that. The other stuff is made up. There's a character that you've invested in for your whole life that believes there's something wrong with her, or that she can't get it, or it'll never be for her. Other people get to wake up, but not her. Yeah, there's a whole scenario there. But that's after the fact of the truth of who you are. This is just the most profound thing to get this. It's a quarter of a turn. It's a little bitty shift. And with that perspective, you start to see yourself as the character in this movie, right? But you start to know yourself as the one who can see that. The awareness that knows about this version of Grace, who wants to get it right and is afraid she won't. Does that make sense to you? It's like backing up, it's like backing up. Yeah. See
I'm
the
aware of
character.
the two energies. I'm aware of the aware awake energy. I'm aware of the one who can look at everything. And there's no way to make a mistake. There's no way to fail. There's no way to not get it right. There's nothing says you're supposed to get anything a certain way, a certain time. And the other, the when we go is fearful on that she has to deal with. So I am aware of those two energies. One of them's a lot stronger than the other. Got more track time,
Right. But they're both made up.
Well, the aware awake isn't made up.
No, it's not. But you're talking about two at the level of being the person, one who believes you'll never get it right or you're not going to get it, and the other one that tries to convince you that there are no mistakes. Both of those are ego identities. One of them feels a little bit better because it's more on what we would call the positive side, but it's just another, but back out of both of those is the awake awareness. You're aware of both of those, right? Yeah. And so I am that. And these are the two little characters. These are like the two bots that are running along, right? Here they go. It's like, if you can see it, it's not you. It's something that you have. It's a story. It's a character. It's a bot. So it's like, and I think it's Nisargadatta, and even, and I know that it's Michael Singer who talks about getting back. And what they're talking about is perspective-wise, getting back behind the idea of being this body-mind, get behind the idea of having a problem, behind the projection, and from that place, know who you are as awareness. And this is what's happening. This that's happening is not who you are. It's the story. Again, it's the characters. So, it's such an exciting time because we have available to us the shift. And actually, everybody in this room, everybody on this Zoom, all of us have had this awareness, this opening into this sense of consciousness as all that is. And this is what's happening. Haven't we all had that? Sometimes it's like in nature. Sometimes it's like with the ocean. Sometimes it's like just sitting. But we've all had this dropping away of the illusion, of the distortion of a fear-based reality. And in that moment, knowing ourselves, well, in the meditation that we do, the shared space of awareness, that's what's true. This other shit is just not true. It's like, how long do you want to go on believing the lie that you made up that's fucked with you your whole life? It's like, I have a choice. You have a choice here. Yeah, you have a choice. It's so cool. And it may not feel like you do, but in any moment, that choice is right there. And it's like, oh, that's what's true. I am. Did I think that was a problem? Oh, it's not even there anymore. What was that? What was that? So we understand the mind is continuing to create its bullshit stories and its ideas about reality, because the mind, when we talk about the fall, because that's a great representation, metaphor for how we fell out of our hearts, the connection, the sense of our true nature's awareness, and into the polarized rational analytic mind, where everything is caught in a polarity. And so now we're correcting that. So we're kind to ourselves about that polarity, about that stick where there's a good end and a bad end. We are always kind to ourselves. The fact that we got caught up in it, we got pulled into it early in this incarnational cycle, is the thing that we're coming out of. It's like we're backing out of that and we're coming back to this. And we can see that early wounding. We can see what we concluded about ourselves when it occurred. But you are not that. That could go away in a teeny tiny little stroke in the right part of your brain where that memory was stored. It's the freedom to come home to your true nature and to notice all of the little characters and the different persona and the insistence on who I am. I'm always like that. You know, everybody who knows me knows I'm always like that. Yeah, it's all these things that we're attached to because we created them. But they don't serve and they're not true and they can't last. Everything that you're attached to that's not your true nature will fall away with this body mind. But who you are will not. It was never born, it'll never die. It's the space, it's this generative, full, awake awareness in which realities arise. It's so profound that our minds can't even, our minds can't get it. So we experience it in that relaxed inner space. It calls the inner space, but it's the spaciousness that we all share. Thank you, Grace. You're doing it, girl. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Pretty basic, but we talked about that we should use the 6 steps, 6 questions, we've got 6 steps. Anytime we weren't really happy. And so, like that idea, I just have a hard time keeping it in mind. Any suggestions how to
Remember that you're unhappy? Notice that you're unhappy. Yeah, but it's a good point, Robert, because we're also accustomed to a kind of flat line. And we'll notice if we're triggered, but that flat line, and we'll notice when we're depressed, probably, but the flat line is a kind of common experience. Now, our nature is happy, actually. Our nature is happy. And so it takes some more alertness. It takes enough self-love, enough self-regard to not put up with anything less than your true nature. It's this coming home thing, you know. And so noticing that if your mind is running something and it feels like a particular frequency of like doldrums or ennui or boredom or whatever, that is also a trigger. And to use it as that and notice that feeling, because even though as a trigger, it may be very covered over. It's not the time that mommy slapped you when you poured out her best lotion. It's not dramatic like that. But it may be the time that you spent alone when you were 5 years old and you were left with a babysitter and nobody paid attention to you. It may be that kind of experience. but that's an early wound, because in that experience, you likely concluded something about yourself, like, I'm not important, or I don't matter, or whatever it was. But that's now the source. That's the off-gassing of that conclusion, of that wound, that boredom, that doldrums, that ennui. So you treat it the same. You'll come up with a memory for sure.
Thank you.
Wow. Becky. Can you speak up so that people can hear you on the Zoom?
I'm feeling challenged to motivate myself to do the things I think I should do if I want to be a happy person. Meditate, do qigong, focus my attention. How do I motivate myself? And
So
make
you-
myself do it and not eat popcorn in bed at night.
Right. I want to spend the night with you. Can eat popcorn in bed. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the mind at its best, right? It sounds like it's all a good idea. It's like everything that we've all dealt with for decades, called human potential, right? And doing something to get deeply in touch with. See, we have a lot of making up to do, because we so self-abandoned for so many decades. All of us, even younger ones of us, have from early, sometimes infancy, sometimes early childhood, abandoned ourselves. So we have a lot of making up to do to let that child, through forgiveness, we forgive ourselves for believing I don't matter. That's the 6 steps, the conclusion of it. That's alchemically dissolving that conclusion. I don't matter, I'm not good enough. But at the same time, we have all of the body-mind unit has taken the abuse of our rejection, of our self-rejection, of our belief. The frequency of I'm a piece of shit or I don't matter is so, it's in the body. It's like the frequency penetrates the body. The issues are in your tissues, right? It's like the body takes the hit. And so part of what it means to start to come home, to know ourselves as our true nature, is to start being on our own behalf, not to add more regimen or more discipline to a practice, but to get with that little child in you, does not want you to do more qigong or meditation. She just doesn't. She's like, please, it has never worked and I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. So the opportunity here is to get deeply in touch with, what do I want to experience? And if it's fulfilled by eating popcorn in bed at night, then that's it. That's what you do. And in that practice, you will find a sweetness showing up for yourself. And then if the body mind really loves qigong and meditation, then that will arise, right? But it's the turning, what happened with the wounding, and I use this metaphor often, is it's as if we were like this, and then something happened in the external. Mommy and daddy had a fight, or they divorced, or whatever, and we turned like this, and now we're magnetized into an external reality that is created out of the distortion field of our self-rejection. And we're trying to make up stuff out there in that projection to assuage our hurt, to overcome our sense of not being loved and not mattering. So, but that's our job, you see. It's not going to come from out there, because out there is a projection of it. Does that make sense to everybody? So when we come back to ourselves, we get in touch. The little child is very forgiving when you show up for him or her. It's like, and you say, I am the one you've been waiting for. You thought it was going to come from that lover, that partner, that parent, whatever. But I am here now, and I've got this. And that's the expression of awake awareness, with the light turned onto the woundedness. And in that, because as you come home to yourself, your mind starts drawing unemployment. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to figure out ways and means anymore. It doesn't have to figure out a regimen, right? And so it's like because you're present there, the frequency now is no longer one of fear. The frequency of one is one of presence and love. And on that frequency, your world shows up differently. Your body mind shows up differently. So give up the pressure on yourself to do meditation and qigong. Eat more popcorn. Have more overnights. Playtime. Yeah. Is that helpful, Beck? I didn't, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the imposition of the conditioning has us all like in straitjackets, trying to be a good girl or a good boy, trying to do the right thing, trying to make things out here in a projection of self-hate, basically, for most everybody, a projection of self-hate, trying to make things work out on our behalf. And we see how it doesn't work. We've seen, I mean, how many 5,000-year cycles? We're now in the Kali Yuga, whatever those are called. 5,000-year cycles away from the golden age, away from the connection, the sense of the truth of reality, the truth of awareness, the power of the nature of reality. We have dumbed it down into such a linear sequential, it's like instead of having a fire hose, we now have a spigot that drips, right? And we think we all need to get the water from there. And I got to get more than you because I think I'm needier or I'm better or whatever. So we're trying to get something out of a projection that simply is not, doesn't have anything more in it than the frequency of fear. Was there somebody? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Cyrus.
Iris.
I was-
Cyrus, that's
Cyrus.
Cyrus. I see you.
I'm sitting here feeling the desire to complicate something. Make contact. Here I go. I'm loving sitting in here today and listening. I'm not sure I have an pinpoint question yet, but it's this place I go to where I forget that my distortion is a love language in some way that I develop that is safety.
Right.
And so I'll listen to these questions and I'll relate in a way that's me too. I'm angry. Why can't I motivate myself? Why can't I have more energy? And I forget the question and this brain is almost like an addiction to.
Can you speak up a little bit? They can't hear you.
I guess the over-encompassing, the arc is that I'm trying to get to a deeper truth, which is perhaps that I'm addicted to complicating things, or I'm addicted to staring myself in things. And so there's, I can tell my heart beating because it's like, does not want this to come out loud right now. Doesn't want to blow the game. Drama or something to do. So I think my biggest fear is maybe the boredom that comes outside of this awakening that's always here. I'm afraid of that boredom. And then I disconnect or I don't relate to tension and anxiety. Now I'm just going but I would love to just hear anything you have to say around this sort of addiction of feeling like I need to know, or I don't want to know. But perhaps be more clear with myself quicker around really my bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
one.
know if
I got it. Yeah. Yeah. The well, it's clear that you have a hyper awareness to it, because otherwise you couldn't have expressed it that way. So you have awareness of it. So being in touch with what you're wanting. This is a very sophisticated mind game, right? It's your mind creating a trap for you that engages you, and your mind keeps you from boredom, so it has a kind of payoff. You know, it's like allowing things to just be what they are is anathema to the mind, because the mind wants everything to at least look like a problem, if not a conundrum that's insoluble or something. It's like the mind is on steroids with anything that appears to be insolvable or unsolvable. So it's like being aware of that. Again, you know, the ongoing caveat for all of this is to who is it that's aware? It's not the mind. That's not awareness. Awareness is aware of the mind playing this game that you're describing. Yeah. So it's like we're so accustomed to it. We're so identified with it. We so believe that it's, in quotes, who I am in a way. I mean, we know that it's not true, but this, I always act this way. This is always the result. And it keeps me engaged. I'm not bored, you know. So that's the game of the mind, but there's nothing there. Well, I should ask you, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
And again, can you speak up when you respond?
Now, my first response would be something along the lines of I want stillness. I want confidence of being. I want motivation. What I've experienced relief in recognizing that I want whatever it is I'm doing. So if I don't have that, I'm not ready to truly receive what I want yet. And I need to, like eating popcorn in bed.
Mhm.
I have to be with myself, still eating the popcorn in bed.
Mhm.
Like experience. If I'm really with what I would want, it's somatically it feels like I have to expand seriously that. But my initial response is I want stillness, I want confidence.
Right. Yeah. So those are qualities that you already are, basically. So the medieval mystic Meister Eckhart said that spiritual awakening is a matter of subtraction. It's a matter of letting go of everything that's not it. And because when everything's let go of, including resistance to being happy, resistance to, even we can have resistance to the mind, and that can keep us locked into the mind, right? So as we give up resistance and give up all of that, and we are right here, right now, then that's everything that we could possibly want. We already are that. Because our wanting doesn't come from nothing. It comes from a memory, a collective memory of true nature. I want to be happy. I want to be free. I want to be loved. I want to be expressed. That's all true nature, just arising. So everything that we want, but now because we're turned to the external, including the body mind, which is an external thing, and we're turned to the external. Now we believe we have to get it. So now, because I'm not it, I think I'm not important, I don't matter. So now I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for satisfaction, looking for something that will help me experience who I already am. So it's a matter of subtraction. It's a matter of dropping any idea. It's a matter of not believing what we think. You know, I mean, we're all familiar with Byron Katie's work, and it's profound because it's a way of noticing that if you can see what you're thinking, it's not you. So it's a matter of bringing the light of your conscious mind onto the mind that's rolling out this story of dissatisfaction, rolling out this story of whatever that keeps you from what's already true, which you already are. It's not what you experience, it's who you are. Experiences come and go too, just like bots of creation do, right? Just like body-mind units come and locations come and go. It's all in the movie, basically. So as the one that is present, you see, we're looking for things that we already are, so they can never be found. So it's like this turn and this homecoming. It's like reaching out your arms and collecting your attention particles from an external projection and just bringing them home. And it's now like, here is what is, and this is what's happening. I don't think I answered your question, but
So I really want
yes, that's right. That's what you'll get.
looking for.
Yes, the connection we're looking for is the one that we unavoidably left with the early wounding. And so we're coming home to that place that we left, except you never could leave it. Our experience was that we left it and that we got caught up in a hell realm, basically, a projection, the frequency of which was fear.
So then the ultimate, what do I want would be, I want to know what I know is true. Right? Wouldn't that be the ultimate? Know what I know is true, or so there's no question about it. That's what we all want, and we want to know the truth. That we know that already.
Well, you are that,
Yeah.
which
or-
is even more,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Closer even, yeah.
yes, closer even, yes, yeah. Because it's in relaxing into the sense of oneself as awareness that what the need to understand or be understood simply falls away. Because we're present, and we're present in that most the fullness of that most profound experience of true nature. And there's no, to know something is not like the mind being able to figure it out or explain it or even understand it. To know is like, in the biblical sense, to be one with it, to be that. Yeah. Yeah.
What I want to be. How would you explain what you want, Polly, if someone asked, if I had to do that question, how would you answer for us?
I don't recall having wanted anything for 13 years. Because there's no, if you're not in the future, there's no wanting. This is it. And that's the way it shows up. That's what happens in meditation. This is not just this body mind unit talking about it, but it's just it's what we all experience anytime the mind's not running the show. There's no wanting left, and there's presence, and it's who I am. That's what's true. The idea that you could get something just doesn't occur. So that's why it's peaceful and free and happy.
So if you have no wantings, and how about needs? Do you feel like, how do you deal with that, Peter?
Well,
repeat the question.
Yeah, Linda said, how do you feel about needs? What do you need? But there's nothing to need. If you are present as your true nature, there's no me here who needs to get something or avoid something. That's what it means to wake up. You wake up to your true nature. It's not needy. It's with whatever is, and it doesn't feel any separation. And if there's no separation, how would I get something from out there that I already am? I already am that. So there's nothing to get and nothing to avoid. Does that make sense, Linda? Yeah.
So that, thank you. That is the top of the hour.
Okay.
Saved by the bell there. No, I'll just say that is my experience of Pali. Actually, that is the truth. What you say, I experience of you every day.
Yeah.
No want, no need. It's astounding. It's astounding.
And happy. And popcorn in bed, especially now that we have in our family a new popcorn.
I have one follow-up on that, which is,
Yeah.
now, if you do have, say, a choice to make about something,
Mhm.
where will that choice be sourced from? Will it be sourced from a place of intelligence guiding you? Or
Yeah.
what you want the most? Like, where would a choice source from?
Well, you are connected to the field without any sense of needing to control or needing to get anything from it. And information comes that way. It will occur to you. It's what most people call intuition, but it's a more ongoing experience, because the mind is now, like I said, unemployed. It only shows up for times when I'm talking to in the groups, when I'm together with any of you doing a session. The mind shows up in order to verbalize, talk. But the information comes because the information is coming from the field. And if it's not blocked or distorted by a mind that's caught in fear, then and I might make a call and start to do something like I did last week with the ozonation possibility, and find out that there was a block there, and then I went to another place. But there's nothing, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't bring up fear, and it doesn't bring up the idea that there's a problem. It's just what's happening, basically.
Okay, we are going to go into 45 minutes of silent meditation. You're welcome to stay or go. Thank you, everyone. I put in the chat if you'd like to be on the mailing list, or if you would like to make a donation to Pali, that would be lovely. And again, we'll be meeting next week. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Robin.
Aloha.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. Should I close the thing? No. They're staying with us. Oh, okay. They're with us. We have a timer?
Yes. we have a time.
Bon voyage.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Love you. Love you.